Gold versus dollar war. Will one triumph? For centuries, gold has been the ultimate symbol of wealth. Empires rose and fell, currencies were minted and destroyed, but gold remained untouchable. Then came the U.S. dollar, a piece of paper that somehow became more powerful than gold itself. And now a silent war is brewing. Gold versus the dollar. Will one triumph? Our story begins in 1944 at a small town in New Hampshire, Bretton Woods. World leaders gathered after World War II to rebuild the shattered global economy. And they made a historic deal. Every currency in the world will be pegged to the U.S. dollar, and the dollar will be pegged to gold. 1 ounce of gold was fixed at $35. America had the largest gold reserves in the world, so the dollar was as good as gold. For a while, it worked. Nations trusted the dollar. Trade flourished, and the United States cemented its place as the world's economic leader. But power is tempting. By the 1960s, America began printing more dollars than it had gold to back them. It was an economic gamble, and the world noticed. Countries started asking to exchange their dollars for gold. Gold began to flow out of the U.S. Treasury like water. In 1971, President Richard Nixon made a shocking announcement. The U.S. would no longer convert dollars into gold. The gold standard was dead. From that moment, the dollar became just paper, backed not by gold, but by trust. And here's the twist. The dollar didn't collapse. In fact, it got stronger. How? Because the U.S. struck a deal with Saudi Arabia and other oil-rich nations. Oil will be sold only in U.S. dollars. This created the petrodollar system, forcing countries around the world to hold dollars to buy oil. The dollar was no longer backed by gold. It was backed by oil. But gold didn't disappear from the game. Central banks kept buying it as a hedge against the dollar. In times of crisis, war, inflation, recession, gold prices would spike. The dollar might be king, but gold was the kingdom's insurance policy. Today, that silent war has flared up again. China, Russia, and other nations are stockpiling gold at record levels. Some are pushing for trade in local currencies, bypassing the dollar entirely. The BRICS nations have even hinted at creating a currency backed by gold, a direct challenge to the dollar's throne. And why now? Because debt is exploding. Inflation is eroding trust in paper money. Countries fear the U.S. can weaponize the dollar, freezing assets, blocking transactions, cutting nations out of the global financial system. Gold, on the other hand, cannot be printed. It cannot be sanctioned. It has no political allegiance. So will gold win? Not so fast. The dollar still dominates global trade. Over 80% of all foreign exchange transactions involve the U.S. dollar. America's military power, economic size, and deep financial markets make the dollar hard to replace overnight. But the cracks are visible. The more nations diversify away from the dollar, the more gold gains ground. The war is no longer about tanks and bullets. It's about trust and value. In the end, maybe one won't completely destroy the other. Instead, we may see a new balance, where gold regained a larger role in global finance, while the dollar remains a key player. But make no mistake, the battle is on. And in this war of money versus metal, only time will reveal the victor.